This is Cora Dive, bringing you In the Land of the Giants. Loki was lurking in the courtyard of Asgard when he saw Thor, the thunder god, approaching. Great. The trickster tried to slink away, but Thor hailed him. Hail, Loki! Why me? Hail, Thor. It is time for Thor to go adventuring again. Ha ha! Still talking in third person, I see. Yes, I think. So, will you come with me or not? Well, I'd rather stab my eyes out. Aha! You love your strange sense of humor. Let's be off. Fine. I have nothing better to do. I am off to Jotunheim to kill some giants. Good thing this whole giant hunt thing isn't awkward for me or anything. I mean, my father was a wind giant. You know what I always say, don't you? Yes, unfortunately. The only good giant is a dead giant. Now, let Thor bid his beautiful wife Sif farewell. Thor enthusiastically kissed Sif goodbye. Get a room. The two gods departed Asgard and made their way down the Rainbow Bridge. As we travel through Midgard, we must pick up my human servant, Thalfi. We're taking a human along on this journey? I hate humans. Is there a creature you don't hate? Good point. Yes, we might need Thalfi on our journey. He is the fastest human alive. In Midgard, they stopped before a small hut, and a peasant family came out to greet them. One long-legged boy was 2 feet taller than the rest of his family. Wonder which one he is. He's the tall lad on the right. Never mind. Hail, Thalfi! Hail, Thor! Hail, Loki! Hail yourself. Are you ready to adventure with us? Of course, my lord. The 3 companions continued toward the land of the giants. Thalfi, taking huge strides, kept a swift pace. Mind slowing down a bit? Some of us aren't long-legged freaks. What's the matter, Loki? Can't keep up? Your wit amazes me. Soon we will cross the boundary between the world of men and the land of giants. The lamp of heaven is falling low in the sky. Twilight nears. I fear it will soon be dark. I fear you'll keep talking like that. Tell me, Hammerhead, have you ever thought about where we're going to sleep? The thunder god squinted through the dark. Hark! There is a hall ahead, nestled up against that ridge. I can barely make it out. We'll see if anyone is there. With any luck, they'll be hostile and put us out of our misery. By the time they reached the hall, darkness had fallen. Doesn't look like anyone's around. We might as well let ourselves in. The 3 companions went into the open doorway. I can't see a thing. Don't they believe in torches around here? Mjolnir began to glow in the darkness, giving them a bit of light. Thor's hammer will light the way. See, there are a few hallways branching off here. Let's split up and search for sleeping quarters. Split up? I thought you'd never ask. The travelers dispersed down the various hallways, but each passageway abruptly ended in a blank wall. They regrouped. What kind of hall has 5 passageways that lead to nowhere? Is this some kind of riddle? Who cares? Let's just sleep right here. This place gives me the creeps. They did as Loki suggested. Around midnight, they were awakened by a deafening roar. The entire hall was shaking on its foundations. The hall is moving! Ya think? Let's get out of here! Are you crazy? Don't you hear that roaring out there? It's obviously some kind of monster. We better just stay here until it's gone. Then we will stand our ground here and wait for morning. The roaring and shaking continued all through the night. When morning broke, Thor turned in his sleep-deprived to his sleep-deprived companions. We must now venture forth and perchance determine the source of this noise. Perhaps the maiden sun will shed her light on this dark riddle. Perchance you'll stop talking like that. Come! They crept forth, and in the light of day, the mystery of the strange roaring was quickly solved. By the Norns! What they had thought was a ridge of rock the night before was actually the side of a sleeping giant. I've never seen a giant so huge. I'll be darned. Now let's get out of here. The giant's mouth opened, and the tremendous roaring sound that they had heard previously escaped from it. Whoa, he's a heavy sleeper. Let's wake him and end his life. He looks tired. Poor thing probably needs his beauty rest. You know what they say, let sleeping giants lie. And just then, the giant sat up. My heart grows cold with fear. It'll take more than that to intimidate me. The giant caught sight of the three companions. He's seen us. Well, hello there, small ones. Ha! Who's this fool calling small? I think us. Look at him. He can call us anything he wants. My name is Skirmir. Skirmir. That is a dumb name. If I had a dog, I would give it that name. An idea. You do not need to tell me your name. Only the god Thor could be so bold. But do not worry, I will not break the peace. I am traveling to Utgard, one of the many giant strongholds. Would you care to join me? A trip into a giant stronghold. Gee, that sounds like fun. Of course, that is where we're headed as well. What are you doing? Thor will find a way to slay this giant. What are you gonna do? Kick him in the shin? He almost hit his head on the sky! You are too cowardly, Loki. He's not that big. Where did I put my glove? Oh, there it is. The giant's glove was lying upon the ground before them. It was huge, as big as a building. In fact, it was the hall that they had just spent the night in. Not that big, huh? So you spent the night in my glove, huh? How cute all creatures are. Skirmir picked up his glove and shoved it upon his hand. Now, my miniature friends, we will go. Try to keep up. The giant stood, took 3 steps, and was nearly out of sight. Ah! No time to lose. After him. Valfie, we must keep up. Great. Then there was no telling how many miles the 3 companions covered. Each time they would manage to catch sight of the giant, he was once again lost over the horizon. At last they saw the giant had stopped and prepared a camp for the evening. I must say, you small ones are rather slow. I've been sitting here for hours. You will not escape us so easily. Well, good night. With an earth-shaking jolt, the giant flopped onto his side and immediately began to snore. Now, I will strike my blow. What? Thor shimmied up a tree and found a branch that was about level with the giant's head. He drew Mjolnir up to his full height. Strike, hammer of the gods! Ah! He brought the hammer down full force. The mighty weapon only rebounded off the giant's skull, and the force of the blow sent Thor shooting backward out of the tree. Ah! The giant rose and looked around him. What was that? Did a leaf fall on my head? Oh well. He flopped back onto the ground and continued his sleep. Thor appeared from the underbrush. I don't believe it. Mjolnir has never failed before. Don't take yourself too seriously. Come on, let's get some sleep. The companions bedded down, but the giant's raucous snoring kept them from any hope of sleep. This is intolerable. Thor cannot sleep with such racket. I'll put an end to this. Last time I must not have struck with my full force. Thor once again grabbed his hammer and climbed up the rocky rise near the sleeping giant's head. He raised the hammer up to his full height and brought it swiftly down. Once again, the shock of the blow threw Thor backward off the hill of rocks. What? Did an acorn fall on my head? Oh well, back to sleep. Thor appeared over the hillside, red and shaking. He compares the power of the almighty Thor to an acorn? I don't know what's worse, your ranting or his snoring. There is some mistake. My strike hit home. I felt it. Don't try to kill him again. Maybe this time he'll figure out what's happening and rip you in half. At least then I won't hear your whining anymore. Thor climbed to a high spot to attack once again. This time, he leapt into the air toward the giant's head. Ah! The hammer sizzled as it cut through the air and hit home with all its fiery force of a thunderbolt. Sparks flew everywhere. By the gods. Okay, I really felt something that time. A bird must have flown over and laid a little present on my head. The giant returned to sleep. Thor, singed and smoking, lay on the ground where he had fallen. A look of complete and utter confusion was on his face. "It's not possible." "Well, my rest is completed. My tiny friends, you can find your way from here. You can see Utgard away there on the horizon. I wish you happy little lives." The giant rose and sauntered into the distance. "So, Thor, buddy, ready to give up yet?" "No, no, no. There must be some explanation." "So we're still going to the giant city, even though your hammer seems to be virtually worthless." "Yeah, good idea." "Mjolnir will strike again, and this time it will kill." Roar! Thor jumped up from the ground with a furious snarl and ran toward the far-off giant city. Thjalfi took quick pursuit behind him. Great. More running. When the three companions reached the giant stronghold, they saw it was carved from a mountain whose top was lost among the clouds and had gates as tall as trees. Thor pounded his hammer ferociously upon the door. "Open these doors! Visitors from Asgard are here." "Well, looks like nobody's home. At least we tried." The trickster tried to slink away, but the Thunder God had caught him up by his collar. "These enemies might be crafty, Loki. We will need your tricks more than ever." "I need my life more than ever." Just then, the door swung open, and two enormous giants at arms, the guardians of the gate, grinned down at them. The puny Thunder God and his creature. Skirmir told us to expect you. In fact, he's told the King of Utgard about your coming as well. King is dying to meet you." "He will be dying when he meets me. Isn't that right, Loki?" "Leave me out of this." Thor strode boldly between the legs of the giant guards and into the fortress. The guards pulled Thjalfi and Loki inside. "Easy, fellas. I'm half giant, you know. We're probably related." They arrived in the throne room of the giant king, who had a face so grotesque, fearsome, and ugly that it would cause many to die of fright. His nose nearly touched his chest, but Thor, of course, was undaunted. "I am Thor. Who might you be?" "I am the king." "King of what? King of this dunghill? I'm surprised you claim it." "Big talk will get you nowhere around here, godling. That is why we have arranged a little contest for you." "A challenge? I gladly accept. I'll show you once and for all that all the gods are the superiors of the giants." "We shall see." Come, come. What is the challenge?" "The contest is not for you alone. It will also involve your diminutive companions." "Did you hear that, Loki? He called you dim." "That's not what that means, you musclehead." "Loki, huh? Even here we have heard tales of you. You're a half-breed, correct?" "Oh, I'm at least 3/4 giant, thankfully." "But kissing will not be part of the contest, Loki. What What else do you do well? He is a mighty eater. No one in Asgard can out-eat him. Really? I believe there is someone here in Utgard who could beat him. Oh, really? Then bring them forward. I've never been beaten and eaten. Loki, come forth. The giant king clapped his hands, and a gray, bone-thin giant was brought forward. Kinda skinny, isn't he? Two enormous troughs of food were laid out before Loki and his opponent. Give that guy a sandwich. He'll starve before the contest begins. This isn't a fair fight. Just the way I like it. Eat. Loki's jaws went into motion, and he devoured the food with a wolf-like appetite. The trough was enormous, but he had cleared all of its contents in a matter of seconds. Gorged and groggy, Loki held up his arms, sure of his victory. There, I've won. To his shock, Loki realized that the food in his opponent's trough was also gone. In fact, so was the trough. Where's the trough? He snapped up the food in a second and ate the trough as well. The thin giant belched, and bits of sawdust flew from his mouth. That guy beat me? I think I'm gonna be sick. You might have beaten Loki, but my other companion here is the fastest creature who has ever lived. Is that so? We'll see about that. The giant king clapped his hands again, and this time a second giant appeared, one with long flowing hair. You two shall race around the perimeter of this fortress. The one who returns here before me first will be declared the winner. Don't fail me, boy. No problem. Go. Valfi sped away. As for the long-haired giant, there was a blur in the air, and then he reappeared as if he had never left. A few seconds passed, and Thalfi returned to the throne room, winded and completely shocked that he had not won the contest. I don't believe it. Well, mighty Thor, can you do any better than your friends? Seething with anger, Thor spewed forth his answer. You bet I can. And for once I have proved myself. I'm coming for your head, Giant King. Very well. 3 tests I set before you, most boastful of the gods. The first is a wrestling match, a contest which I have never lost. Thor wears a magical belt that doubles his strength. Good. You will need it when you wrestle with the most formidable opponent known to Jotunheim, my grandmother. Huh? An old, crippled giantess hobbled forward, her back so crooked that she stood no higher than Thor did. How dare you giants mock me? This is no joke. Grandmother Ellie is the best wrestler in Jotunheim. Come on, Sonny, show me your stuff. Well, what are you waiting for, Thor? Even I could take her. Very well. Thor flew forward, expecting to throttle his elderly opponent immediately. But the old woman's gnarled arms flew out and stopped him in his tracks. Huh? To Thor's surprise, he could not overpower her. He tried every move he knew, but nothing could throw the old woman from her feet. The giants who watched roared with laughter.
Thor, beaten by an old grandma. This is too rich. Ah!
Thor at last forced the old giant woman to one knee, but his strength had all but left him. Enough. The match is over. We'll call it a draw.
Yeah, Thor, you and Granny can share the booby prize. Better luck next time, sonny boy.
Impossible! There's some kind of trick here. Bring on the next contest. Next, you will face yet another fearsome opponent. A creature so hideous, few men have been able to tame it. Yes, I am talking about my cat. What? What do you want me to do to your cat? All you have to do is lift it off the ground.
Hopefully the cat's not as good a wrestler as Granny was.
A humongous cat sauntered forward, eyed Thor coldly, and plopped down in the midst of the throne room. Ah! Thor ran forward and seized up the cat by its enormous belly, thrusting it as high as he could into the air. Yet as he did so, the cat's four legs stretched out to their full length, keeping its paws firmly planted on the ground. This can't be happening! Thor pushed the cat higher and higher, but it continued to arc its back, hissing fiercely. And at last it lifted one paw from the ground. But Thor's strength was spent. He released the cat and gave it a mean-spirited kick. It disappeared into the shadows of the hall. There is trickery in this, and I will stand it no longer. Maybe strength is not the best contest for you. I am Thor, the strongest of the gods. Are you known for anything other than your strength?
Well, there's this dazzling intellect.
Perhaps a drinking contest. Fine, I've never been beaten in one of those. I have an enormous thirst. Very well. Bring forward a drinking horn, and we shall see how thirsty a god could be. All you must do is drain this tiny horn. A drinking horn was brought forward, and Thor examined it suspiciously. It was just like those in Asgard, the hollowed-out horn of a bull. The giants filled it with mead, and he raised it above his head. I drink to your defeat, giants. Bottoms up. Thor's Adam's apple bobbed up and down as he gulped and gulped and gulped. He gulped for minutes on end, but the horn did not empty. What is happening? Thor began to sweat. His face grew red, then blue, then finally purple. The meat's level had lowered, but only slightly. At last, Thor let loose his breath, and mead flew in all directions. Ah! The thunder god fell to the ground, gasping for air. Beaten again. I say, Thor, you are not the mighty warrior we giants thought you to be. I don't understand. I don't understand. The giant king smiled good-naturedly. Perhaps this will explain things. Behold. The giant king's appearance began to change. His face melted and shifted. He now appeared in his true form, Skirmir, the giant they had met in the countryside. You! Yes, me. must admit, you did much better at these contests than I thought you might have. The old grandmother you wrestled was actually old age herself. Even the strongest man or god cannot keep old age from beating him. But you at least got her down on one knee. And my cat? Well, that was no cat. It was an enormous serpent who lives in the iron wood. A serpent a mile long. You struggled with it, and you did what no other person has ever done. You nearly lifted him out of the forest where he lives. And the other end of the horn of mead you drank from was attached to the wide ocean. The sailors of the world were in shock today when they saw the sea shrinking around them. Thank goodness you could not drink it at all. Magic! Magic! Of course, magic.
And who did I face off against?
Loki, or Wildfire, the eater that gobbles up everything in his path. No one could expect to beat him. And me? You raced against the speed of my mind. Do not mourn that you lost in such a race. As soon as I imagined him to return to his starting point, he was there. You trickster! I should have killed you when I had the chance. You almost did. No giant could have lived through the blows that you tried to deal me. But I was too clever for you. Each time you swung, I used my magic to put a hill in between your hammer and my skull. On your way back through Jotunheim, you will see 3 valleys, each deeper than the last, all made from those terrible hammer strokes of yours.
Clever. But why? All these tricks?
We giants are not all fools. You are supposed to know your enemy, right? You have learned a valuable lesson today. And you will not live to see tomorrow! Thor flew into the air, brandishing his hammer, but before he could strike, Skirmir disappeared into a puff of smoke. Ah, I see someone did not learn his lesson today. Until our next meeting, godlings. Around them, the fortress of the giants melted into a fog and was whisked away by the breeze. The 3 traveling companions found themselves sitting on a barren hilltop. No! Come back and fight! For the longest time, Thor could not be persuaded to move from that spot. He sat sadly, staring into space. Thor has lost his honor here today.
Big deal. Life makes the best of us look like chumps.
I will never again let a giant get the better of me. I swear this upon the sanctity of my own hammer.
Well, at least we escaped with our heads intact. We have lost, but we live on to fight another day.
In that you speak the truth, my friend. With that, the 3 companions began the trek home, turning their backs upon the land of the giants.